Hello there, and welcome to Star Wars Guide. In this video I will be covering Operation Cinder. This will include the events of Operation Cinder, what Operation Cinder is, and when it happened, as well as explaining the reference that Migs Mayfeld made in the 15th chapter of The Mandalorian. In the event of his untimely death, Darth Sidious had relayed orders for Sentinel droids to give out to admirals of the Empire. The idea was to keep morale high and to keep rumours of his death away from those in the Galactic Empire. One of the orders that were relayed was to commence with Operation Cinder. Operation Cinder is the codename for an orbital bombardment weapon. This weapon would create devastating storms and create scorching damage to anything in its way with the use of satellites. With the satellites positioned in the atmosphere of a planet, they can be targeted to specific locations or areas, most commonly used on cities, as we see in Star Wars Battlefront 2. In accordance to the timeline, these attacks would begin shortly after Return of the Jedi. And by shortly I mean weeks or days after the Rebels had blown up the Death Star 2 in 4ABY. As the galaxy celebrated, the Empire were pulling out of Imperial-controlled systems like Bespin. However, fragments of the Empire would continue their reign of terror on Imperial-owned systems such as Vardos. These were attempts to keep their power and to remove anyone who thought of defecting against the Empire. Admiral Garrick Versio ordered the attack on his home of Vardos using the satellites as ordered by the Sentinel droids of Darth Sidious. They were targeted in an attempt to remove politicians whose opinions had swayed from the Empire, destroying much of the city below, killing many senators, civilians and military personnel. The next target of the attack of Operation Cinder would then be focused on Emperor Palpatine's home planet of Naboo, a very important planet to what would then become the New Republic. This attack was intercepted by General Lando Calrissian and his rebel fleet. On the planet's surface would be a defense led by General Leia Organa, with help from now defected Imperial Inferno squad leader Eden Versio. They would defend the Empire's main target of Feed Palace in the capital of Naboo. Whilst they were fending off the Empire on the surface, Lando Calrissian and his fleet would go about destroying these satellites, defeating the Empire and defending their planet. After the battle had finished, General Leia Organa, impressed by Eden Versio's skills and dedication to stopping what she once believed in, integrated what was left of her squad to fight for the New Republic. What we learned from The Mandalorian is that Migs Mayfeld has PTSD from the events of Operation Cinder. In fact, he was at another target the Empire had, Burning Con. Burning Con was one of the most tragic examples of this weather weapon, wiping out an entire city. Countless lives lost, both civilian and military, with very few survivors, two of which we know, the sniper Migs Mayfeld and his old officer Valen Hess. Burning Con became a target due to word reaching out that the Emperor had died, causing unrest and unloyalty within the cities of Burning Con towards the Empire. This is where Valen Hess was appointed to take charge of these cities 3 months after the Battle of Endor. As time went on, these settlements became more unloyal to the Empire. Becoming tired of the resistance the people showed towards the Empire, Valen Hess ordered the city to be wiped out. The satellites completely ruined the city, killing thousands of oppressed citizens and Valen Hess's own division. After Burning Con, a multitude of other planets and galactic bodies were struck by the Cinder satellites. Not much is known about these attacks as they go into Legends territory, but these satellites worked as tools to oppress those unloyal to the Empire, to strike fear into the New Republic. While Valen Hess's death to Migs Mayfeld may not account for the numerous lives lost, the amount of lives saved due to the New Republic's speedy response to take down these satellites gave hope, enough to keep the fight going to eventually end the Galactic Civil War in 5ABY following the Battle of Jakku. That has been Operation Cinder. Please leave whatever topics you would like me to cover next in the comments. There may not be another video out, hopefully just before the new year, but until then, thank you for watching.